Hey, you look cute.
Thank you. I get sad every time I get dressed because I realize that I'm never going outside. I'm never going to be able to go outside again. So, I mean,
you're giving me Portia.
really, I was trying to go for Tammy Rivera. Like, I got this hairstyle from her. Like, she had the little curl one, what they call meet the flockers?
Come on, friend.
Meet the flockers, and we started on time. Like, on time.
I'm always very, 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 very.
I got the volume up. Hold on.
Here comes Alvaro.
I ain't seen Alvaro in a month of Sundays.
A month of Sundays.
Tanya. Let me see. Who we got in here so far. It's getting crowded in here already. Everybody was ready.
I'm nervous.
So let me see. Let me wait like 5.
Funny.
Hi, Carrie. This better be good. Listen, Tommy.
Come in here talking shit.
Tommy, don't come in here with that, okay, Tommy?
Hi, Alvaro. Be on your best behavior Alvaro, before we roast you.
Tell Tommy don't come in here with all of that. Where's the vaccine for the COVID-19? That's what I want to know. Tommy got the answers.
He got something. All them trips.
Tommy been all over the place. Tommy ain't. Yeah, I stopped work for this. You stopped. Ain't nobody stopped. Nobody work for this. Let me stop. It's getting messy already. Hi, Ma.
Hi, Miss Angel.
Messy already.
Carrie. Lord.
Ooh.
Take it easy on me.
I'm gonna be gentle. On you. It's your first time. I'm not gonna be rough. And you got one shoulder out? Let me see your shoulder. I'm telling you, every Thursday, I get prepared for this. This is what I'm looking forward to. Every Thursday, chatting with my friends on live. And every Thursday, I get dressed and I look and I put my makeup on perfect, and then I get sad. This is as far as I'm going.
I had fun the other day when I went to Danielle's house. That was my little escape. Me and Egypt decided that we're going to do cookouts at Danielle's house twice a month.
In the midst of the pandemic?
Yeah, just us.
Lord have mercy. All right, so we could get started. I think we warmed up enough. Like, I'm trying to give everybody a couple of minutes before we start getting in a conversation, because then people show up late and be like, "Oh, I was late. I got here late." I don't understand how you getting late to your phone. So, like, I really feel like people are doing things that I don't know is happening, because I thought outside was closed. Thanks, Alvaro. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Alvaro.
Where's Alvaro? Is he still here?
In Delaware.
Oh, wow.
Hi, Corey.
All right, so I would like to introduce my really good friend, Ms. Z.Powers. Thank you for going live with me today. Come on, shoulder. Come on, shoulder. So this is my most level-headed friend that I have. Well, no, I have a lot of level-headed friends, but this is one of my friends who know how to play both sides when it comes to situations. She'll play both sides of the coin and try to give a definitive answer as to what needs to be done. Making moves, always on time, always reliable. I can't say there was ever a time when you said you would do something and you did not do it.
You got to keep your word. All you have is your word.
Really, that's really all you have is your word. I mean, actions should align with your words, but I mean, first and foremost, all you really have is your word. I've known you since, well, we've been in the same school since the 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So from 7th to 12th grade, we was in the same school, and then I think we got real tight in the 9th grade.
Yeah.
Those are our running days.
Literally.
Those are our Bo Derek days, getting our hair braided from Miss Kim days.
Bo Derek and Bo Jackson's. Bo Derek.
Walking to 125th Street, going towards Rice High School days. Those walking to that, those were those days.
Oh, we doing that.
We have evolved from those moments. We have definitely evolved from that. I think we just had class together. I think we had some classes together in the 9th grade because
I think that started, yeah.
I didn't know you too well in the 8th grade. I just remember saying to myself when I first saw her, like, damn, she got mad hair. I was bald headed in high school, so.
And I had so much hair. That was before I even had a perm. It's
Like, why
only,
she got all this hair?
only I knew then what I knew now.
So what was your first impression of me back then?
You know, I thought you were loud, but like not in a bad way. But like you had a presence. Like you knew when you were around. You were always in the hallway.
This is true.
Always in the hallways. And it was just like, I don't know, we used to always like see each other in passing, and like I feel like the girls that I was friends with were like you were friends with them. Like there was a group of girls that came in that all knew each other from elementary school, but weren't all in the same classes. And then because we naturally kind of became friendly with them, we were kind of friends by default, but we didn't really know each other too well.
Right.
And then we really got to know each other a couple years later.
Yeah, I'm happy that did happen.
Me too.
I'm happy. I got you now.
Yeah.
Look at that. All the people you was cool with before.
Yeah, you've been a rider.
I've been around for some moments. We've been around. I see you remember to hop in on one live action. You know what? I'm not dealing with the comment section today. I wanted to talk about your career choice because after I remember you wanting to be a lawyer all throughout school.
Can I cut you off?
What happened?
Because no, I wanted, because you brought up something and it's funny you mentioned it. So remember you said rice days?
Yes.
So I don't know if you remember this. So you remember I had an ex-boyfriend from Rice, right?
No names, yeah.
Yes. And I don't know if you remember this, but this is when I knew you were like a real like ride or die friend, literally.
Oh.
So me and him, we broke up, and he popped up like, 2:15 when we got out of school and was there one day. And I remember he walked up to me real aggressively, and we weren't together at this point, and I hadn't spoken to him, and he was like telling me to get in the car with him. He had like a truck, somebody was driving, and I was like, I'm not getting in the car with you. And he opened his coat and had a gun in his coat.
Are we doing it?
And he like tapped me with the gun, like, get in the car. And I remember I turned to you and I'm like, Simone, he got a gun, but can you please come and be in the car? And you came with me.
You know, I've been a ride and die all my life.
You really came with
myself.
Me. I don't know what was going to happen, but you came with me.
He was a little sketchy, though. You know what? Nobody remembers him, though.
No, like, did he even really go to Rice?
About that person. Nobody remembers who that guy was. I don't think he made a lasting impression on everybody. I think he went to that school for what, maybe a year or two? I don't think he graduated from there. I never heard of him again. I wouldn't even recognize him. No, I think Tom has a big con to everybody. I don't think we would recognize him at all. I don't even recognize some of the people that we recognize. But that's neither here nor there.
Greg is stupid.
So I remember in school that, I think you weren't you? Didn't we have a debate team?
Yes.
I didn't go to class, so I'm asking you. You would know more so than I would. Didn't we have a debate class?
We did.
And did you always want to be a lawyer?
It was mock trial. Yes.
That's what y'all had.
It was mock trial.
Did you always want to be a lawyer? Because I never really had any real career aspirations. I thought I was going to be Beyonce before Beyonce became Beyonce.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of by default. I feel like my parents kind of put that in motion, like kind of put it in my head, like, you're always reading, you love to argue, you always want to convince somebody something, like you should be a lawyer. And I don't know, I guess it just kind of stuck with me and it resonated. But I remember one time in elementary school, I wonder if Alvaro remembers this. Alvaro, let me know if you remember this. In elementary school, the attorney general had came to our school one day, Elliot Spitzer at the time. And we were like all in the library, and like, this school in Harlem, so a bunch of little Black and Hispanic kids. And he asked everyone what did they want to be when they grew up. So me, I'm like, I want to be a lawyer. And this man told me not to be a lawyer. He was like, oh, we have enough lawyers in the world, you should be like a doctor or something. Oh, Alvaro saying yes, he remembers. And I don't know, I didn't like that. And I guess even back then there was always like an inner like activist / like, I don't know, it's something about coming to like a school in Harlem where it's like a bunch of brown kids and that like have certain aspirations, and you as like a white man telling them not to do something that they really want to do. And I'll never forgot that. And it just like, it kind of always bothered me. So I think that was always in the back of my mind, like to push forward. Like when it was times when I felt like I don't know, this is what I necessarily want to do. I'm like, nope, you have to do it. You have to do it.
But then there's different parts of law. What kind of law do you practice? Because I think people think lawyer and they think SUV,
right.
law and order. Like it's just like one type of lawyer. Like there's different types of lawyers that you have. So what type of law do you practice?
So I work at a media agency, and the majority of what I do is just like digital vendor contracts and agreements. So anytime any of our clients work with any anytime they work with any digital partners, so whether it be like Snapchat, NBCU, CBS, whomever, there's agreements that need to be drawn up and kind of like agreed to kind of to kind of just represent what they're going to be doing, the money spent, what the commitment is, the responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's basically what I do all day. So it's not really like a client-facing role where I have to be in meetings and stuff like that. It's really just like me and the computer, just getting it, sending it, which is something that I like because I'm not really big on process and like being super formal and things of that nature. So like it works for me. Yeah, when I went to law school, I realized it was different ways that you can maneuver if you did it right. And I knew that I didn't want to be in a courtroom. Like that's something that I knew from like the beginning.
So when you finished, what college did you go to? Like after we graduated high school, everybody went their ways. You know, I went to Morgan and lived my second best life. Well, my first best life.
No, Alvaro.
So what college did you go to?
I went to Boston College.
You know, I never heard of that school until you went there. I only knew about HBCU because I knew that's where I was going. So I didn't know of anything else.
No.
So where did you go to law school at?
And Alvaro's just mad that I got into BC and he didn't. I went to New York Law School and I went to BC for undergrad.
It was like the bar, like I know like they talk about the bar exam being like an extensive, like serious, stressful ass test.
Very much so.
How many blacks was in your classroom when you were studying?
Handful.
It was a handful? And like predominantly white?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. It wasn't like a really big school. And then I went in the evening program because hey Jalexa. I worked full time and I went to school part time. So I went to school and it's crazy because part time is 4 nights a week. We're at 4 days a week, whereas full time is 5 days a week. But it was a handful. It wasn't really a lot of us, but most of the people that were in the evening program were people that were like already professionals in other areas. Like there were doctors, there were all types of people that were there. And this was like right after the recession in 2008. So it was a lot of people that were starting over because they had like lost their jobs. So it was a lot of older people that had careers for decades that were basically starting over. And I guess because some of them were able to go to school for free, they decided to go to law school. So it was a mixed bag. It was diverse in that sense, not so diverse in terms of like everyone's ethnicities, but it was definitely diverse in like what people did for a living and what their backgrounds were.
So how do you explain that, like, when it comes to, like, in relationships? Like, do you feel like your career puts you in a certain bracket, or do you feel like people view you differently? Like, in terms of, like, relationships and things like that. Like, how do you feel like people view you when it comes to that? Because, like, you would be, like, you are, minus the trauma and, like, the little damage, like, you could be considered, like, the Molly in this situation. I would be the Issa Rae, and you would be, like, Molly.
Oh God!
Minus
so
trauma.
Molly.
Because Molly doesn't want to be happy, but I'm just saying, like, as far as that goes, like, you find it hard to find, men on the same playing field.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think the problem is that just in New York, at least for me, I can only speak from my experience. I feel like there's not a lot of opportunities for like working 30-something. Like minority people to kind of gather. Like you don't even have to be in the legal field. Just like have some type of profession. Like there's nothing really like in Midtown when work is over for us to go and just kind of hear some Biggie and hear like the shit that we want to hear and drink whatever. I'm gonna smack the shit out of Alvaro. I'm not looking at the comments anymore. But so I feel like it's been difficult I can't even say it's been difficult because it's not something that I'm like actively looking for, because I never had a problem meeting guys.
Right.
So it's not like, oh my God, like I did all of this and I expected to like meet, you know, someone in this profession or at this time in my life, and there's no one here. Like I did all of that. So it's not something that like I actively think about, but I notice it, if that makes sense.
Because, you know, like, we don't, I mean, I know I grew up in the hood. You grew up in the hood. You know what I mean? So there's this balance where we can be able to kind of chop it up with the dudes and the homies, but then you can also turn, you know, turn off and on the hood. That's what I mean. Like, how hard has that been to be able to find someone to balance in between both of those worlds? Because definitely you're in two worlds. Zakia, you're definitely in two worlds. You're not in one.
I know.
Like, definitely two.
You know what it if we're talking about like love life, I would say it's been difficult, but in terms of just like making friends and having relationships, it hasn't been, because like I have like, you know, like the way that I am, and I know like a lot of people probably find this hard to believe, and I have a lot of like coworkers in here and they can probably attest to that. I'm the same way wherever. Like this is me. I'm not turning anything off and on. Like this is who I am. Like you can say like I'm unpolished, I'm rough around the edges. I don't really care. I am who I am. I'm a product of the environment. I'm proud to be who I am. So it doesn't make me feel any like oh, I don't deserve to be here, or okay, let me not say this or do this that way. So people naturally gravitate towards real people. Like if they feel like you're genuine and they feel that you're sincere, it's not an issue. So while I have been like unlucky in like the love category, in terms of the relationships that I have with just people in my field that I work with, that may not even necessarily do the same thing that I do, but just like I encounter them because we work in the same industry, it's been great because there's real people around. They might not always look like you and I, but they exist. And I can always celebrate and respect that. So, you know, and the crazy thing is a lot of these people are similar or more similar to us than we realize, even though they don't look like us. And they have the same issues too when it comes to like finding a partner and looking for someone that they feel looks like them and whatever. So that's something that kind of like bonds us in that regard. But I mean, I think in hindsight, like, I feel like if I had left New York, I probably would have been more successful with like finding someone, because if you still hang out where you grew up, you're constantly surrounded by people that are familiar, like people that may have like walked different paths, but like the paths kind of, there was a fork in the road, but then you came back together at some point. So like I'm always comfortable with that. Like I'll go uptown and you know it's like whatever.
But I've left New York.
You did.
I left New York. I moved other places. I think out of our circle of friends, I may be the friend that dates people outside of New York the most.
I was just gonna say that. You are.
And
you never really dated anyone from here.
I never dated anybody from Harlem.
Yeah, you didn't. Nah, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Next.
Did I?
No.
I did. I definitely did. Look at me. Look at you. I definitely did. I dated one person in Harlem, and it's like once you date one person in Harlem, they're attached to you for the rest of your life. You can't get rid of them. No matter how hard you try to shake this person, you can move on.
Yes, you can.
Have multiple children, and people will still attach you to this one person. I think I found it to be really like a struggle with Harlem being so small and everybody being in each other's business. You know, I just wanted a peace of mind.
After 7 years, you can't claim nobody no more. It's like a negative. It's like a negative recording on your credit. After 7 years, you don't even know me like that. Like, get out of here. We never dated. All pictures have been scrubbed. You don't know me. Like, I don't live at the same place. I don't look the same. Like, everything's different. Leave me alone.
I don't know. For me, like, I thought that, you know, I feel like guys in New York, when you date somebody outside of New York, you would miss the qualities about the men in New York that you like the most. But the thing is, like, you can't pick apart which parts you like and then put them where you want to put them. So you either take this or you take that. You're going to miss this. How much is this important to you? Do you want the fast talking moving fast?
I want all of that.
Flashy dressing ass dude?
I want all of that.
Right. Do you want that, or do you want the conservative,
Nope.
wholesome guy, whatever the case may be? I mean, it's all, you got to pick your poison. So I think that works. It works who it works for. And
it works for who it works for.
And when it don't work, then you got to go ahead and find something.
Go back to the drawing board, right?
So I asked this question to the last two people that was on here, and so it just goes about like accountability.
Okay.
So I asked my last guest, like,
thank you, Zakia.
Do you think there's accountability? Do you think there's accountability amongst women? Do you think that we hold our friends accountable?
I think it depends on what stage the women are in their lives.
As far as what?
Like accountable in terms of like just making bad decisions.
Bad decision making. Like okay, so you have a friend in your circle who is not necessarily making the best decisions, and you know that there's better decisions that she can be making. Are you holding her accountable to the decisions that she's making, or are you basically saying that's her, like that has nothing to do with me?
I think personally for me, in my 20s, probably not, because I was doing stupid shit too. Like I feel like I could probably tear somebody up on something that they were doing, but then on the flip side, they could tear me up on something that I was doing. But I feel like your 20s are for you to figure it out and like
right.
fuck up in that regard, right? But I feel like in your 30s, and this is when you realize the people that are your friend, like who your real friends are, because a lot of times we have friends from childhood and we may not have anything in common aside from the fact that we went to the same school, we lived in the same building, but you really don't have anything in common. You grow up together, right?
Right.
But then as you start to grow into who you are as an individual, if that person is doing things that definitely pumpkin, I do. If you find that person is doing things that you don't necessarily agree with or you don't want to be associated with, you'll distance yourself from them. And it's
right.
like very simple. So I feel like I'm at a point in my life, at least like in my 30s, because I'm like really in my 30s now, where we're not doing the shit that we were doing in our 20s. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like everything we're doing is like trying to make our next move our best move. So with that in mind, I definitely feel like all my friends are really trying to like better themselves, and like whether it's like their career, their family, their homes, like whatever it is, their credit, like just different things that they're doing to just kind of be better adults. And in the event that I have a friend that's just doing something that I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that, you know me, I don't have any.
I mean, well, our group chat is all about accountability. You know, our group chat started out as like a one. Shout out to Carrie too. Like our group chat started out with a hair question, and it's so funny that we were part of like, I feel like in high school we were. I know me and you were cool, but I know me and Carrie wasn't as cool as we are now. But like we had like 3 separate types of friends, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's just us 3. And although we may speak to those people, I don't think I really talk to anybody from high school but you guys, honestly. I mean, other than the friends that I interact with here and there on social media. And I think it's all about accountability. I mean, the whole group chat looks like Ask Jeeves, like so many different questions, and how should you feel, and you know, you shouldn't allow people to do that, and maybe, you know, you should do this, or maybe you should do that, you know, shouldn't do that. I feel like we hold each other more accountable now, because I think it's more self-awareness now. We are more self-aware of what we're doing and how detrimental it can be in the long haul. I think our 20s, we thought we had, I know for me, I can't speak for everybody in their 20s, I thought I had more time. I would have never thought I would have been 35 this fast.
Girl.
Like my homeboy Paul said, like, we just too young to be this old. Like, I really feel that in my heart. Like, I'm just too young to be this old. And so to have a person in your circle that isn't really doing the right thing or not really aligning up to you, I'm not really too sure how much I really want to go party at happy hour. I'm not too sure if I want to do something every Saturday like that. Like, those aren't my goals like that anymore. That's not what I find to be fun. A fun day for me is a nap. Like, I get great joy out of getting in the bed and going to sleep. To actually get dressed, to go out, because I'm no longer looking for anything.
And then when you wake up from the nap and you have no missed calls or text messages, it's amazing.
Come on, life is really about, you know, constant evolution. And we talked about this before, where it's like, you ain't got to be perfect,
right?
But you got to be solid.
You got to be solid. Absolutely.
I'm not perfect, but I'm solid in whatever it is that I do. So who would you say keeps you accountable?
I feel like I keep myself accountable. Like, no, for real, because I feel like I'm so hard in general. Like, I'm probably the one that needs to work on their delivery, but at the same time, like my intentions are always good, and like, cause you know me, like whatever. But I feel like I'm always checking everybody else, like don't do that, or why'd you do that, or you shouldn't. And I do the same thing to myself. Like a lot of times I check myself, like you don't do that, like don't do that, like that's stupid. But I do ask people for advice. Like if like sometimes like I find myself in a situation where like I'm like, I don't know if I should have did that. Like, was I wrong? And you know, in that case, like I'll usually like ask my father. Like my father gives really good advice. I find that most of the advice that I seek out from individuals are usually men, and I don't know why that. And they're usually older than I am. But I usually like I have a coworker that he's probably about 10 years older than I am, maybe a little older. But he gives me really good advice, like whether it's like relationship advice or just like life advice, because we're like he's really nice and like the type of person to always say yes even if he means no, and I'm nice enough and I'll say no, so it's like yin and the yang. And then sometimes like I'm telling him like don't do that, like don't do that, like now you're gonna have to do that again. And but because he's such a nice guy and people respect him so much, just because you can't, he's the type of person you can't say anything bad about. I feel like he's a good person to get advice from. But like between him and my father, like my father gives me really good advice, especially when it comes to like dealing with like issues I'm having with the family, because my dad, he's been around longer than I have. And I feel like we both have like a really good, like the gift of discernment. And a lot of times the issues that I'm having with people are kind of ways or qualities that they have that don't necessarily mesh well with me. And I'm like, well, maybe it's me. Like maybe it's not them, but it's me. And I'm like, let me ask my father, because he knows these people just as well as I do, if not better. And my father will like, you know, he'll always keep it like 100 with me. Like, no, yeah, totally. Like that's the same issue I have with them. Why do you think I don't do, you know, whatever. Or like, you know, sometimes let's say, you know, sometimes princess, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And you know, he's like, even though you're a woman, a lot of times you're very aggressive, almost like a guy, which I don't necessarily agree with, because I think that's the antiquated way of thinking. But my father is 70 plus years old, so that's a whole nother story. But he definitely will give me good advice and like both sides of the coin.
So who would you consider to be like your OGs or like your mentors? Like who do you look up to?
I don't know.
What you mean you don't know? That's not what you were supposed to say. No, I don't know.
I look up to different people for different reasons, but like I probably would have to say my parents.
Okay,
I would have to say my parents, and for different reasons. My mom, just because she's a woman, but she's a boss, and she has to make a lot of decisions, decisions for herself, decisions for her family, as if she doesn't have someone else that she can kind of lean on and be her crutch. And I'm a lot like her in that sense, which is why I'm so like direct and just kind of like, I like to say direct. Some people like to say confrontational or aggressive, but I mean, sometimes, you know, some people can't handle it. But my mom, just because like when dealing with certain situations, you can't be friendly all the time, because people take that as a sign of weakness, especially if you're a woman, right? So my mom, just because she gives me the strength to just be who I am and not kind of feel like I have to apologize about it. And then my father, just because he is very much like my mother, but a toned down version of it. And he knows how to make it kind of like massage it. I've been like this. Like he knows how to massage the message so that it's not offensive, or you know, it's not off-putting or anything like that. And I think that's a gift that you have to kind of exist somewhere between the two. Like that's like the perfect marriage. So depending on what the situation is, you know, I might, you know, ask both of them, but like definitely my parents.
Do you feel like loyalty can be detrimental to somebody? In what ways? Because before you answer, so I remember I told you about the documentary that was coming out about Russell Simmons, right?
Right.
So I actually watched it last night. So I'm not gonna get into that, like exactly what happened with that, because that's a totally another story.
Okay.
But one of the people that was on there, like she had nothing, no, I don't think she had any involvement with the situation. She just was like a person that was speaking on a documentary. She made a statement that Black women are ride or die to the detriment of themselves when it comes to Black men.
Okay.
I think she meant that in a statement of when it comes to situations within the Black community, I think that when it comes to the black man is already like oppressed in a sense. Whereas like right now, like we're living in a really heightened situation with everything that has happened, you know, within the last week or so. Like within the last week, you know, like we're in a pandemic, but somehow, some way, Black people are still kind of like dying.
Right.
So with that being this, you know, on this level, then you have those women like the women that were on the documentary that are trying to come forward and have a voice behind a situation that has affected them and maybe has affected them mentally. And it's like the Black community is not able to digest that, because it's like, why would you want to do something like that to someone who has contributed to our culture? So as Black women, we have silenced ourselves or been a little bit quiet about the situation, because it's like, the Black man already got it bad. I really don't want to go ahead and put this out there. I just want this to kind of just go away. So the girl says, you know, Black women are ride or die to the detriment of even themselves when it comes to Black men.
I mean, I definitely feel like we show Black men more love than they show us. I'm not going to say that it's to our detriment simply because I have brothers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always about the Black men that like have wronged us, or the ones that don't necessarily appreciate us in the way that we should be, but just simply because I have a younger brother, or you know, if I have children one day, I may have a son, and I just think that it's important for us to kind of be unified in that sense, because we're all one and the same.
Right.
And so I don't. I understand why she said that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand why she said that. But like but just in general, like generally speaking, when it comes to loyalty, like can it be detrimental? I feel like even if you think about what loyalty is what, like being devoted to someone and like being supportive of someone, right? Those are things that aren't given, they're earned. Like I'm not going to be supportive or devoted to someone that hasn't earned that. So if we have that relationship where there's that some type of reciprocity, where I feel like, you know, it's not just a give, and you know, like, you know, all you're doing is taking, then it can never be detrimental. But I think people confuse loyalty with things that look like loyalty, but it's just stupidity. You know, people will look back at a time where someone may have did something for them or been there for them or whatever. Like usually someone did something nice for you or something that you needed for them to do at a point in time, but that was like former. Like presently, how are you like supporting me today? Like
Right.
how are you being there for me today? And if you look at it and it's like we don't even have that type of relationship where I can say that, you know, you're loyal to me, why the hell would I be loyal to you? And I'm not going to feel bad about it either, because what have you done for me lately? It goes both ways. So I think because people don't necessarily understand what loyalty really is, they think they're being loyal, but they're really just being stupid.
You're like, they're really just being stupid. I think you're being dumb, but
Yeah.
that's not loyalty. You're basically creating this loyalty facade based on maybe
something somebody did forever,
a long
like,
time ago.
and that's not to say that whatever they did didn't really help you.
Right.
You know, you could have been in a really fucked up situation, environment, whatever, and they looked out. But like sometimes people take you from a bad situation and put you in a worse situation.
So I wanted to ask you this because it's funny, because Sip is in there. Some woman put up with bad shit and never leave. Okay, so answer me this. So you and I have had this conversation before, but I just want to ask it again. Why do you think women go so hard for their men that they're in a relationship with and not their homegirls?
That is a good fucking question. I don't know.
Why do you think so? Like, okay,
I don't know.
think about it. So, say for example, like you have friends and they'll dead you. The nigga ain't shit. He ain't shit. He's proven to not be worthy of it.
Right.
But there's certain things that you're willing to tolerate from your dude that you're not willing to tolerate from your homegirls. If met with that same type of disrespect or energy, I would be, cut off. But when it comes to this man, you're willing to go above and beyond, and you don't really get anything out of that other than, disrespect, disappointment.
Herpes.
Not herpes, but you know what I'm saying? Like, all you get out of that is negative energy, but you're still willing to put that type of energy. Why do you think women do that? Like, why can't there be a balance in between relationships? Not saying that I should be more important than your relationship, but there's no balance in between that.
I don't know. Because me personally, like speaking for myself, I feel like my homegirls are my soulmates. Like that's how I feel. Like I feel like it doesn't matter what happens in life. Like I know you and I will always be very, very close friends. Like it doesn't matter. And I feel like when it comes to relationships, there's so many variables that me personally, I don't feel comfortable like separating the two. A relationship is a relationship.
Right.
Whether it's platonic or romantic, it's a relationship, and it has to be healthy in order for it to work, right? And like some people have low self-esteem. Some people don't necessarily understand what love is, like didn't necessarily or have like the best representation of love growing up, and what having a partner is to them is kind of like a notch on the belt. Like I've made it, like despite all the adversity I may have overcome or whatever hardships I may have like faced at some point in time, I have this man and he loves me, and it's like I won. And because of that, they're willing to tolerate whatever comes with being with this person just because they want to say that they have a person.
Right.
I don't subscribe to that theory, so I don't get it, but I think what it really does all boil down to is just having low self-esteem and just not having such like a high sense, like the not having the knowledge of like what you're really worth. Like your self-worth is more than what this person is putting you through. And maybe people are afraid that they're going to be judged. Like I don't know, but I don't agree with that.
Do you think that generational curses exist? So like I will always say that I kind of walked into the same. I'm trying to break a generational curse. I'm trying to break a generational pattern.
Which is what?
Like, I have 2 children. My mom has 2 children. My grandmother has 2 children. I'm like a 3rd generation in this whole like thing. And I just wanted to stop right here with me. I don't want it to kind of continue on with my daughter. I don't want her to go through. I mean, we can all not want our children to go through the things that we went through. You know what I mean? But we also have to provide a healthy model of what that healthy life would look like. Do you believe in the whole generational curse? Do you think it exists? How has it impacted your life?
You mean like your mom, like, or are you saying like all of you were like single, like unmarried month? Like, is that what you're saying?
I mean, everybody's married now, but
got it.
They weren't.
I think they exist, absolutely, because even you ever notice how like, and we love you, Miss Angel, so I'm not coming for you. Like I don't want her to think I'm coming for her. But you ever know, like, I'm sure like there's things your mom probably did as a child, like to you, or just did when you were a child, and you're like, I'll never do that when I get older. Like I'll never be like that. And then lo and behold, like you find yourself like kind of doing the same thing. I think what you see in your house, you do it's kind of like a cycle to a degree. So I will say like yes in that regard, but like it can be different things. Like the flip side of that is people who get married or people who get married for the wrong reasons, just so that they can be the first person in their family to say, I have a husband.
Right.
Because if I don't marry this person, I mean, never get married. And, the people before me, whatever, no one else is married. So I'm going to get married even though you're not treated the way that you deserve, right? So I think they definitely exist. And the first thing you have to do is kind of acknowledge that they exist and like how they even came to be, and then find a way to circumvent that some way, somehow. With respect to that, like I don't necessarily have that because everyone, like my parents, their parents, their parents, their parents, their parents, everyone was married. Like I grew up with my, even though they're divorced now, but like my parents were married. So for me, like if I were to have a baby, and my brother has 2 children and he's not married, he has 2 children by 2 different women. But let me have a baby and be unmarried. I'm not going to hear the end of it. And I already know this because it's been said to me, from my father, though. Whereas my mom is like, it's 2020. You don't need to have a husband, have a baby. But I think she's just at the point where she just wants me to have a child. So,
Right.
Point is like by any means necessary. But I think my parents would be disappointed in me if that were the case. Like whether they want to say it or not, even though my father has said it, I think they will definitely be disappointed in that sense. But that, yeah, yeah.
So I want to move down to love, sex, and relationships.
Yes, we do, Miss Angel. I'm listening to you.
Women don't listen when their parents are talking to them.
I hear everything that my parents say, Miss Angel, and I hear the stuff that you say too, because you're my spirit sister.
My mom believes that if you listen, you should listen, and you shouldn't do it. It's, that's the do as I say, not as I do era. So it's kind of, I think I struggle with that. Like, it's cool to listen, but I'm more of a visual person. I actually need a visual to kind of guide me. I'm the type of person that I need the picture in the book. I need the picture in the words. I just can't go off the words alone. Yeah. Don't do that is sometimes not enough for me not to do it. We need
you gotta learn the hard way. Like
it's ways to not learn the hard way, and I think that the delivery and open, clean communication is key in not making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for me, since she's here and she's talking, for me, to see something is to see something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see.
Right.
So to grow up in a household and see one thing and not necessarily know the ins and out of it, or what's keeping the household moving, like I know, but I don't really know.
And then not only that, that's all you see.
Yeah, that's all I see, but I don't really see. And although I don't want that for me, I don't want it. I keep saying I don't want it. You don't want it for me. I don't really know how to do anything other than what I seen.
Right.
So I don't want this. I really don't want it. I'm trying to stray with it, but I don't have the necessary tools to create something better because all I have is really this. And in order for me to make more, I need a little bit more than this. Right. And although I've gone out into this world and I've seen other things, because you didn't listen. I listened, but I'm telling you now, I needed more than just don't do this or you'll end up like this. Because there were things that were said that you said would happen. When it didn't happen, I thought maybe you didn't know what you was talking about. So therefore I said, what else don't she know what she's talking about? So I kind of blurred the lines and filter out what you said. And now that I may need some direct answers, I need some direct answers, like definitive answers at this point in my life. Simone touched the hot stove. Simone does not touch the hot stove if the stove is hot. I can physically see that it's hot, but there's certain things that I will say, and I've said this to my mom. I believe that you prepared me for the world as far as when it came to a hustle mentality, but I wasn't emotionally prepared for all the things that would happen. I'm not emotionally prepared for the things that happen, like heartbreak. I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for disappointment. I wasn't prepared for any of that. So when I see those things that are happening, they are foreign to me, and I don't know how to embrace those things. I have to kind of step away because I don't know how to touch that. I don't know, what do you do with that? You disappoint me. Why are you here? Why are you still here? Why are you going to disappoint me again? You keep disappointing me? Okay. No, I I don't want to keep having disappointment because I don't like the way it makes me feel. Things that are foreign to me, I can't really embrace like that. You know,
Right.
like, there are things that, you know, we have to experience on our own. And my mom's favorite thing to say is that, you know, the game is still the same. The players just changed, which is true. But I'm inside the house. I would have never thought this would have happened. You know what I mean? There's things that have happened that we didn't see coming. So, yes, your experiences were the reasons why you felt like you didn't want me to live this life. But then I also have my own experiences as I get older that I share with you. This is what I was really doing when you thought I was doing this. This is what I was really figuring. This is what I was dealing with here. But this is what was really going on. I feel more open to express that. And I did hear you. And although I did touch the stove every now and again, don't think that I didn't have your voice in my head the whole time.
Right.
Like, I'm messing up, but don't mess up too much where you can't go ahead and grass yourself back up. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's just certain things about me that I just don't think that people know. Like, I'm not that smart. Like, book smart, I'm not book savvy.
Don't say that.
I'm not book smart. I think I'm very intelligent, but do not give me no book. I think I should have went to like art school. I should have drew my way out of high school because I promised to God, I don't remember shit. I'm just not a school person. I went to school because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I went to college because I thought that was what I was supposed to do. That's not what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know what else to do.
Right.
I never, you know, I didn't want to be a lawyer. I definitely don't want to be a doctor. I don't like blood. I didn't want to go to school any more than I was already going to school.
Right.
I was already in school too long.
Right.
I was in school since I was in kindergarten. Why would I keep going to school?
I feel you.
I just didn't want to do that. And, you know, that just wasn't my thing. Like, I liked glitter and I liked some other stuff that was fun to me, but that wasn't a fun experience. High school was dumb to me. Everything else behind it was
not dumb.
It was. High school was a very dumb experience to me because here we have this institution that is supposed to be teaching us stuff, but how did it prepare us for life?
I can't.
Did you do the Charleston that we learned in the 11th grade?
Was that the dance?
Did you do that?
I did.
Do you still do that now? No, I haven't.
We turned it into the butterfly.
Yeah, okay. I haven't used anything I learned in high school nor college to further me in my life. I haven't been able to use any of it. I just wish that I would have been an accountant major because I could have been an accountant. That's the only thing that I can even say that I didn't figure out who I was until maybe 25.
I feel like I'm still figuring out who I am.
I think we're still growing, but the core is still there. My core is still here. I use calculator.
We know Alvaro. All of us aren't power brokers.
I don't like numbers like that.
And I'm glad you use calculus every day because you definitely passed calculus for me, and I love you for that.
Y'all left me behind. So I don't know what math I finished in school. I don't know. I was into other things that really wasn't serving me, but like again, my core is this. Like, you know, there's people that are in a comment section that can say, Zakia, you've been this way forever. You can say, I'm still loud. I haven't gotten quiet yet. So no one can say she wasn't like that in school. No. She wasn't like that. This is who I am, and this is my core of who I am. And sometimes it seeps out more than I want it to, and I just try to put a filter over it every now and again because that's just what it is. I'm a 35-year-old woman with 2 children now. I'm trying to get it together, but trust me, it's not that fucking easy. But do you think men hate women but love pussy? I asked this question.
No. Do you think like that?
Do I believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we're more than a whole.
As far as what?
A whole.
Oh, you think that we're more than pussy?
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I believe I am as an individual, yes, but do I believe that?
Why do you feel like they hate women? Don't look at me like that. I don't feel like
Are we doing this?
We are.
Are we really doing this?
No, we are, but like I don't know why you feel like that.
It's a question that was asked. Amanda Seals has asked this question. No, Amanda Seals has posed this question, and Kid Fury had said this a long time ago.
He's gay. Okay.
That doesn't mean that he can't have an opinion about it because based on a lot of women's experiences, it seems like black men or men men hate women, but they just want to have sex with us. So they're willing to do what it is to basically get to that point of having, you know, sex with us. But as far as anything else and instilling anything else besides having sex, it's like it doesn't matter. And I don't think it has anything to do with us as the individual. I think you might think that we are cool, but I think there are men out here who really have an issue with women, like a real issue.
Hate is a strong word.
Well, I mean, it's a raw statement like that. I
Yeah.
have to be on there to emphasize how much dislike it is, because you say one thing and a man like, but what about y'all? I mean, there is a lot, like you said. I feel like we go harder.
I agree with what Mitch said, that Kid Fury can't have an opinion on heterosexual.
Amanda Seale is a woman, and she said, I believe that men hate women but love pussy.
I think everyone's experiences are.
It's not okay. So this is the thing about an opinionated thing. It's an opinion, and people get defensive and want to separate themselves from that notion immediately because it doesn't sit well and you can't digest it. So people want to immediately just withdraw from it and be like, oh, no, not me. But there's men in these comment sections that have done some really fucked up shit to women, and are continuing to do fucked up shit to women. And if you don't hate them, then what is it? Then what is it? A strong dislike?
I think men are not necessarily ready for the things that women are ready for, right? And I feel like sometimes men just want to have sex, right? And some women do too. But I feel like the way that they go about just wanting to have sex with us and the way that we go about just wanting to have sex with them sometimes are just like completely different. And then it kind of looks like reckless disregard when it's like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like hate is like, all right, let me get off the hate. I don't think men hate women. I think sometimes men just want to fuck. And because they just want to fuck, there's a lot of like collateral damage in the process. But I do feel like, I'll say this about men. I think that there comes a point in every man's life where if he meets the right woman at the right time, he will be the right person for her. He may meet multiple right women, but the timing is wrong. But the right woman at the right time will make him a better man. And until that point happens, it's open season. And women, because we're a lot more emotional, most of us, not all of us, than men, we're not really able to separate the physical part of it from like the intimate part of it. And in that, it comes off as though men just don't give a fuck about us. And it's like, not to sound cliche, but it's like, it's really not you, it's me, meaning right. Like God, like, if that makes sense. But I don't know.
I mean, it's a statement, but I think it was worded that way for that reason, to cause controversy, for people to get riled up, to spark the conversation about what is the issue here? If it's not that, then what is the issue?
The bigger issue is that a lot of men come from broken homes, or homes where they had something that had like a semblance of love, but it really wasn't love. And you're going to mimic what you see, usually. Not all the time, but usually. So their version of love is just not the correct version of love, or it's not love at all. But because of that, they don't always know how to love us properly. And if you think about it, like, you and I could be with the same man, but the way that I need to be loved may be different from the way that you need to be loved. If a man is not taking the time to really understand, like, the person that he's with, like, her needs, her desires, her everything, that miscommunication, like, it's never going to mesh and bode well. And because of that, it's going to come off like they don't care, or they never cared. And that's not always the case. I think men need to I think men need to kind of correct themselves in a sense. Like, a lot of men are more broken than they realize. And when you're dealing with a real woman, that shit will be exposed. Because, like, you can, like, I was dealing with someone and he might have been great in a lot of aspects, but because his father abandoned him at a very young age, it was very difficult for him to express to me that he loved me, even though he did love me. He showed me he loved me. It wasn't necessarily that he didn't, but for him to say, I love you, was very hard because he didn't grow up in a home where that was ever said to him. And that's real shit. And there's a lot of people that are similarly situated, or maybe not so, but some degree of that, where there wasn't love in the home or the love that that person needed. And because of that, they go out in the world not knowing how to love women that they may in fact love, but they don't know how to express it, or they go about it the wrong way. And women too. Women look for love in a lot of the wrong places, and sometimes, like, all the red flags, all the signs are there. Like you said, like, sometimes all the warnings are there. You've been warned. You know that this is what it is, but at the same time, you want to just see for yourself. Like, maybe it's not as bad. We're not reaching gray. Maybe it's not as bad as, like,
if it's not that, then what is it? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if this is a reach, then what is it? This theory that, you know, these people are creating about the situation is coming from real life events. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if you're me, is not going to be in love with you,
and that's fair. You don't
debatable. No.
I mean, and that depends on that. You don't have to be in love with me, but how men are real clear about their intentions with the woman up front? How many men are really clear about their intentions?
Like, how many guys really sit there and say, listen, you're beautiful, all of that, but I just want to fuck you? Or do they take the 1% $100 dates?
The 1%? Do
they wine and dine them? Send them flowers?
This whole illusion is created around this one little, these things right here. And then after that,
Nicholas says he's been up front. None of them.
I believe it wholeheartedly.
Not one of them. None of them.
I'm going to disconnect and come right back because it's going to cut off.
Okay.
I'll come right back.
All right.